Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host Ray Goots, and I'm here with Kyle Lewis once again. Kyle, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Interesting week in wrestling. Dave Meltzer claims that nobody's watching Raw, so
Again? He's still doing another one?
still doing that. I don't know.
All
I don't
right.
know how no one's watching Raw, but somehow every week the arenas are packed. Because I remember when nobody's watching Raw, truly, and they were in high school gyms. But
Yeah.
apparently now, less people than when no one, when I wasn't watching Raw in '95 and they were in high school, less people are now watching Raw. So I don't know how but they're also on the Netflix top 10 every week, which indicates nobody's watching Netflix. So Netflix must be losing billions of dollars a week because nobody's watching Raw. If Raw's in the top 10, that means nobody's watching Netflix.
And the only thing people, I guess, are watching is K-pop Demon Hunters and not Raw and nothing else based on this.
I get that. I guess that's what. Yeah, yeah. So like, this thing, it's like, and then he goes like they lie, and it's like this is the thing. This is the crazy thing about facts anyway. This is the crazy thing about the world now. All right. If I open up a newspaper in like 1992 or whatever, and they're like Unforgiven grossed like $5 million this weekend, I'm just gonna be like, all right, it grossed $5 million, right? And
Yeah.
then I just go my day. And then at the end, like Unforgiven closed its box office run, gross. They made $100 million. Okay, cool, right? And then that's it. I just accept that. Now it's like, fucking Superman made $20 million this weekend. They lied, or that's bad, or that's great, or like there's like four different ways to interpret the number, and I'm like, oh, so if nothing's true, then I could just make up my own. Like people just make up like well, they must be like they lie about the number, they fudge the numbers, and it's like, well then, what does it matter? Because if Netflix is happy with Raw, what does it matter if one person watches it or a billion people watch it?
Yeah. No, I mean, you brought up Superman. That was driving me crazy. I think it made its like gross, like it made its money back over like the first weekend, like
Yeah,
right away. And the people who were a lot of the Snyderverse people who were really against this movie were like, well, it didn't do well in China, so it's really not a real success, or it didn't do well here yet, so it's not a real success. Unlike the Man of Steel or whatever friggin' movie that they're obsessed with.
probably that movie did not do well.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, the movie is getting rave reviews from most people, and they already just said it made its money back. But like you said, people like to, if it doesn't fit whatever that narrative is, they're gonna
Yeah,
find a way to spin it and fight about it, and it makes no sense. And we've said this before. Netflix is not shy about canceling things. If Raw was that abysmal, it would be gone. It would
yeah.
be gone.
It wouldn't still be around. It wouldn't. And
In the same vein, because the people do the thing about AEW and their ratings. Same with Dynamite. If Dynamite was that terrible, if the Big Bang Theory ratings were like crushing Dynamite, Dynamite would not be on Wednesdays.
yeah, it's very like Meltzer like takes like Meltzer takes the Nielsen. The Nielsen thing is very like hard to be honest with you. There could be room for error in that the Nielsen ring because like when I was watching Dynamite live back in the day, how did it know? Because I was watching on Sling. Like it's so, but he takes those numbers as facts. So if the Nielsen ratings say like AEW gets 100,000, he just takes it as a fact. Wow, they have a bad week. So I'm like, well, why do you take that as fact? But you don't take you like Netflix is lying. It's because you don't know how Netflix works.
It's also
You
such
know?
a small percentage of the world, especially America, who has Nielsen cable boxes where this stuff is rated. So
Yeah.
a bunch of us are watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, TNA, all of them, but we don't have Nielsen boxes, so that's not going to factor into the ratings.
Yeah, so I'm just like, so if you think that Netflix is lying, and I know, or they're fudging numbers, which I don't know, to spite you, like, so because nobody cares about this number but you, and then you like throw a parade on social media, and we have to like deal with it, right? So if you think that they're lying about the numbers and we don't know the max number, why do you take the AEW Dynamite? Like they talk about the AEW Dynamite number like it's gospel, like that's it. And I know they always, but like there should be no discussion of the numbers because we don't actually know the numbers. When you know the numbers come up is when WB is like we are canceling AEW at the end of the month, or when Netflix is cancels, or when they re-up the deals for either one of these companies. That's
Yeah.
when you should talk about numbers, because then it's clearly all right. Clearly the numbers were good, or clearly the numbers were bad. But it's like if we don't, because we don't know the max number, and I think it's stupid to try to guess because they've given no indication of they've given no information out. So literally you're just guessing. So and the Netflix, I also think like it's I also don't think Netflix is up front about their numbers, which is why I think it's stupid to go on and on or to say like nobody's watching Raw. I think it's like just watch the show. There's other things to shit on WWE about, and this is like kind of dumb, you know?
I think attendance and ratings are two of the things that I think fans should just never talk about because like you who gives a shit? You don't work there. Like
Yeah,
you're not gonna know. You don't work for you're all not like statisticians all of a sudden, statisticians. Like you don't work there. It makes no sense for you to be like, well, the ratings are bad here, so this is why. Like you don't work there. It doesn't make any sense for you to deal with it. Let them
and
deal with it.
and the other thing too is like this is the only like nobody is like being like Dodger fans are like no you know what more people watch the Dodger game than the Mets game, and like when Agents of Shield and Flash were on the same night they were on Tuesdays for a while. Nobody's like oh man Flash did this and the MCU's in the mud like
The
everyone's
Tuesday
watching
Night Wars.
right
The Tuesday Night Wars.
Tuesday Night Wars. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The only time I actually saw ratings discourse, I don't know if you remember this. The only time I actually did see this as a kid, where people were like into it, was when The Simpsons went against the Cosby Show. Do you remember that? They put
No, I don't remember that.
they put The Simpsons against the Cosby Show in its second or third year, and it did get it got its ass beat by Cosby.
Of
He
course.
put them to sleep and then had sex with them.
Oh,
Poor Marge. But what I'm saying is I remember people being like, people thinking that that's going to end up getting The Simpsons canceled because no one's going to watch it. And people did look at the numbers for that. That's the only time I remember it ever being a real thing.
is that why I moved to Thursday, or was Cosby on Thursday? I can't remember. I
The
remember The Simpsons
Simpsons
was on Thursday for a long time, a
when the
long time
Simpsons
ago.
when the Simpsons was a great show, it was on Thursdays. So the Simpsons moved to Thursday on the second season and it stayed there till like its fifth or sixth, and then around '95. So from like '90 to '95, it was on Thursdays. Then it went back to Sundays, and I do think that's when it jumped the shark. And we've just been in this existential Simpsons dread since like
Uh,
1999.
that is a different conversation for a different day because I could go deep into that, which I don't want to go into
You know,
the years of The Simpsons and if it's still good.
there's a
But
writer. There's a writer on SNL. She's a 26. She was born in 1999, and
mm,
I realized like she's a comedy writer who, for the entire time she's been alive, Simpsons has sucked. Like she's a grown ass woman. She can go buy a house.
I will say debatable. I'm not gonna get into this, but The Simpsons sucks. Now, it's not as good. We could all admit that. We could all admit it's not as
Every
good as
time I
it
tried to give
was.
it another shot, this was my favorite show. This was like my all time, and it's like not even as good as Facts of Life. But that's a whole other thing. Let me tell you, let me tell you what is a good show. All right, let me tell you what I was shocked how good I was shocked because people talk about Canadian Stampede like it was like the best WWE show of like the '90s, and it was good. Don't get me wrong, but I think this show was because nobody talks about this show. This show was way better, and I'm talking WCW Bash at the Beach 1997. I was shocked just how good this show was, and also like just the diversity of what did you think of this show first of all? Well, like just your first thoughts when it comes to the show.
I think I think overall it was a good show. I think top to bottom it was your standard WCW show, even with shenanigans. We had
Mm-hmm.
your cruiserweights, had a couple cruiserweights. You had like a strong mid card, then the veterans at the end. And it just it flowed. It flowed very well. I could have done without maybe a couple like Mongo, Jarrett, and the Mortal Kombat stuff, but it's WCW, so that wasn't going anywhere.
It's
But
always
yeah,
life is
overall, it
always
was a good
better.
show.
Life is always better without Jeff Jarrett. I will agree on that. Like, um, yeah, the thing about WCW and like, first of all, I think right now they're at their peak. They really are. Like, they have figured out. what makes this company special, and they've also figured out the future. Like there's the opening couple of matches on the show, it feels like an AEW show, like in terms of the match quality, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like if people are coming from New Japan and Mexico and everything. So they figured out the cutting edge future of wrestling. They figured out what they like, and they've kind of figured out Hulk Hogan's character, and it makes a great package. Um, the crazy thing about this era, because people attribute Hogan turning heel for the big upswing against WWF, and I do agree that's a big part. But I think the other thing that they don't get credit for, because people just look at the main events where it's Piper and Hogan and Savage and Ric Flair, is that the undercard, and it kicks off because at Bash Beast '96 with Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis, the undercard would always have insane work rate, like insane like pure so matches that would fit in 2025 on a New Japan card are happening on the undercard. And I think that sometimes I think people would think that that exposes Hall and Nash or Hogan. I think it complements them, because if Hall and Nash and Hogan were trying to replicate what Ultimo Dragon does, it would come off really bad. But it's a different style. Like you see a bunch of different wrestling styles. Like it's not all one style. And I think that really helped out, because when you get one of these shows where you put on a Nitro, when the show starts, you're going to see some fucking insane action. But at the end of the show, we're going to get some storyline advancement. Now, is the story always going to be good? No, but it's still going to move forward, you know?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the cruiserweights were the best part of Nitro to me. I was always looking forward to the crew. Besides, like whatever the NWO storyline was with Sting,
Mm-hmm.
I was always looking forward to a cruiserweight match or Jericho, who I believe is TV champion right now in this world, or a TV championship match because somebody that I liked, like a Jericho, or William Regal, or Steve Austin, when this guy was the champion. So I was always
Yeah.
looking forward to that. And then you had whatever was going on with Sting, and you had whatever was going on with DDP. So there was always something.
Yeah. And it was a good package. And the thing we talked about this last week of Vince McMahon throwing out Brett because he probably figured they're going to go into the next level. Everything they're doing, they're on a. It's so funny because everything both companies doing, they're both on a collision course to a big show, which is WWF is headed to Survivor Series, and they're headed to Starrcade. And I think people in this summer, it's a foregone conclusion. We just got to get the Starrcade, and Sting's going to stop Hogan, right?
Hmm.
So it's just fucking and still, because I think because it was such an easy layup, it was such an easy layup. Um, I'm gonna say people always say the finger poke of doom, fucking Vince Russo. I think the damage was already done. I think the the thing that really got them was fucking up Starcade '97, because you just had the smooth. And this is the crazy thing I want to say to Hulk Hogan if he was still alive, but you killed him. Is that, bro, you can get squashed by Sting, disappear for 6 months, come back as a face, and then pin everybody. Like you can probably, like, if they made it to like 2001, 2002, Hogan could probably have gotten his win back on Sting, and it would have been, no one would have cared. Like you could have done your Hulk Hogan stuff. You just needed to lose like a bitch at Starrcade '97. You would not have had to go back to Vince. You probably would have like died like Tony Khan, and you would have been business partners because you would have like invested in WCW. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could have just kept going. All you had to do was lose like a fucking idiot. And you could have, like, okay, now, okay, I'm coming back and I'm pinning Kevin Nash in 14 seconds. Okay, great. No one would have cared.
Yeah, no, it would have been a foregone conclusion. It's still confusing to this day. I've seen multiple sides of it. It's supposed to be a fast count, not a fast count. Hulk Hogan went to Nick Patrick, told him to go nice and slow. Nick Patrick heard from Sting and Eric Bischoff to do it this way. Creative control. It's a mess. It's a mess, and it's the beginning of the end. While they stick around for a long time, and '98 is a pretty good year for them. It is the
Mhm.
beginning of the end because that was their biggest payoff, and they let you down.
Yeah. And and I really do think I'm gonna say this, that tape wouldn't have leaked if he lost, but because his whole life he ruined his life by not doing the right thing by Sting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can I guess connect the dots because then a whole bunch of other stuff happens in
Yeah.
WCW, which is nonsense, and then Russo comes and the whole shoot promo and
If
yeah.
WWF goes out of business with Hogan on top, right?
Mm.
How are people talking about wrestling now? They're going to talk about that Hulk Hogan is is the reason why we're like no one's going to do this Vince is a genius bullshit. They're going to be like they're going to treat Vince like Eric Bischoff. He'd be sitting in a fucking ranch complaining about AEW. Like
83 weeks or whatever
uh,
his or whatever the name of the podcast would be.
I got to tell you, Conrad. I just think that I just don't understand this Will Ospreay guy. Uh, certainly back in my day, he would have been a British bulldog. You know, when I had the WWF, remember that? But
And the World Wildlife Fund would have been fine. They would have had no
yeah,
lawsuits. Would have been a
I
whole
mean,
different
we
world.
tried and lost it in The Rock, and then The Rock told me to go fuck myself, and he went to WCW. What do you want from me? Okay. So, and the other thing about this event, which I think they really delivered, is that I think a lot of casuals probably bought this event because Dennis
Hmm.
Rodman. So the main event of this show is Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan versus Lex Luger and the Giant, and it's kind of hard for people to understand what a fucking star Dennis Rodman is in this era. Like, what a coup it is to get Dennis Rodman. I think even if WWE got the guy who's banging Taylor Swift to wrestle like CM Punk or something, it's not even as big as this because this guy, just everything he did was news back then and he was winning. That's the thing. He was a weirdo who won. And you can't like I feel like sports writers were itching to be like he's fucking up the Bulls with his bullshit, but they couldn't
Yeah.
because they were fucking winning. Um, and so I think people bought this show and I think they stuck around. That's how good I think they really did a good job of getting people. Um, what do you think about the move to have Dennis Rodman at this event?
I mean, I think it was a really good move. I remember Dennis Rodman was all over the news, all over TV, whether it was basketball, whether it was, he was out and about, whether it was wrestling. So to get one of the biggest stars in the world at the time, especially in the U.S., and not only have him be there, but he commits. He commits with the promos. He commits in the ring. He genuinely
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be there, and he did his absolute best. And they put him with great dance partners: Lex Luger, Hulk Hogan, Giant, Macho Man which I assume is there to make sure everything goes well on the outside.
Yeah,
Uh,
or like maybe to jump in if Rodman like freezes. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I assumed. And it was just a layup, and yeah, you can't really do that. We don't really have mega stars as much as we did before. Taylor Swift is one.
I
Call
think
her a
Taylor
mega
Swift is the only
star.
person that could have that could. If Taylor Swift wrestled, I think, yeah. But
But like everyone else is sectioned out. Like WWE had Cardi B the other day, and Cardi B is a big star, but there's a
mhm,
lot of people who also don't give a shit about Cardi B.
yeah. Well, even
Like
like I mean, they have Kill
Rihanna,
Tony.
maybe. Yeah, Tony
Um,
Hinchcliffe. A lot of people like Tony Hinchcliffe, but also a lot of people WWE fans, especially now. I think WWE fans and wrestling fans specifically do not care about celebrities as much as we did in the 90s. Like you bring a
well,
celebrity in, they're like, I want to watch Will Ospreay. I don't want to watch what you call it.
yeah. I think also the mystique with celebrities is gone. Like to become famous now, you have to give access to yourself online 24/7.
Yes,
Like
that is
you
true.
have to post and do live streams. And I mean, every Logan, seemingly Logan Paul sitting on a couch talking every day. Like those are the clips. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he has to give you constant access to him and all his thoughts.
Oh,
Like I'm,
Beyonce.
yeah. And it's
Beyonce
like
is a big deal.
Beyonce's a big deal. Dennis Rodman, I don't know what he thought of this event in the moment. I don't know what he thought of this event today. Like it's just like he was just a weird guy. You saw him on the court, you saw him with his antics, and it's like you get to see him again now wrestling. And I just feel like now he would immediately break character the next day on like Howard Stern and break down what like Luger said to him, what the Giants said to him. We don't know. We still don't know so much, and we're not going to know because you killed Hulk Hogan. But
That really adds, you got to stop saying that. But there, that really does add to it. We don't know. There's a mystery there about it. We don't know. It's a little bit of kayfabe there that we don't know. I
yeah,
remember it really irked me, and I'm sure some people would just be like cope about it. When The Rock, after doing the whole soul thing, went on the press conference and was like, "We got some great stuff planned. That was awesome. Cody played his role great, and John did." You're like, dude, I don't want to hear this immediately after the show.
Yeah,
Documentary 4 years later, sure, I don't care. But like the show just ended. And
yeah, I know.
now like
They're talking about the ride we're about to go on and the twist. Stop it. Can you imagine back in the '80s, like the Bill Watts, like fucking Ted DiBiase turns on Junkyard Dog. He's choking him, he's kicking him, and Jim Ross like, we have so many exciting things planned for you. What a ride! Fucking Bill Watts beat him up in the parking lot with a baseball bat. Oh, what a ride! This man betrayed it because in the storyline, Junkyard Dog was Ted DiBiase's best man at his wedding. This man betrayed the best man at his wedding. This man is beating his best friend like an animal. And you're going to say what a ride we're about to go on with twists and turns? You're not angry about this?
it's silly. It's very, very silly. Like
Yeah. And it's like, well, you can say, I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say just let us buy in a little bit. Look, we know it's scripted. We know it's a show. We know it's predetermined. But you don't have to do it right away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. But hey, listen, let's get into this show. So the first
Hmm
match, and I was like, ugh, about this, and we'll talk about it in a second. The first match is Mortis and Wrath taking on Glacier and Ernest the Cat Miller. Uh, a feud that millions of people around the world were dying to see come to a conclusion. Um, I'm gonna say this: this match was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. It was very much a classic, old school tag match. I'll tell you the weakest part, and this was a weak part for WCW in this era. James Vanderbeek, the fucking manager, horrible, horrible. Doesn't know what he's doing. You know, he somehow keeps getting work. Wrestling just rewards you if you hang around. Like
Like comedy.
Don Callis gets all this screen time now in AEW. He also stinks. He also like they don't like he when he's moving the foot around, he's like moving the foot and slipping the chain on more. He's taking so long and he should have been out there. He should have been on TV. But everything else was pretty good. And Glacier suffers his first loss. He gets pinned by
Ah, that
Mortis.
was the first loss. Okay.
What
Yeah.
did you think?
It was better than last month. I was impressed with Raph
Yeah,
because Raph I mean you know Mortis is good, you know, Ernest Miller and Glacier or whatever. But Raph, someone who's pretty much a WWE castaway as Adam Bomb, really showed like how good he could be. And he was like, I remember he did like he was on the second rope and he did like the second rope like elbow, like he did like the Undertaker walk and then did like an elbow drop. But I was very impressed with him. Random fun fact about Raph: I think he is the only person to have the honor of being cut from WrestleMania the arcade game and WCW NWO Revenge, which is unfortunate because
yeah. He is though a secret character in World Tour. So
yes, he is. So I don't know
and
why they
Glacier.
didn't port him over, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was impressed with. I was more. I think Raph to me was probably the most impressive one out of all of them, and I think they tried to reward that later with that push in '98, but they
And
were
then
already doing Goldberg at the same time, so it was like, why would they do that?
that kills that push. Then he gets, and then I think after that he just kind of gives up in life.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, he became Chronic, which again in 1993, the greatest team of my life, but
not,
2000 not as much.
not as much. Um, Here's the thing I didn't know until last week, and Glacier is producer slash coach in AEW. He is producing matches in AEW this entire, which I didn't realize he was still around. I didn't. I mean, it seemed like he was a guy who could barely wrestle. I didn't think he was still passionate about it, but yeah, he's in AEW. So isn't
Yeah, he
that crazy?
pops up every now and then. I know he's done like Janela Battle Royals and stuff in the gear. He might
Mhm.
have done one dark as Glacier.
I think
I
you're right
can't
about that.
remember.
Yeah, because then when I looked him up, I was like, oh wow, he did Russ. He did do a few things as Glacier, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
he's still around. He's still doing his thing, and I'm proud of him. I know you're not, but
was he also like Buzz Sawyer or something? Not Buzz Sawyer. He's Buzz
Buzz,
something.
but Coach Buzz Stern. Yes, that's
Buzz
his.
Stern. Yes.
Goes from Glacier to Buzz Stern to Glacier again, but he turns Glacier into kind of like the second Glacier is kind of like a parody of Kurt Angle. So
All right.
yeah,
What a
like
what a what a ride.
what a ride for the G the Glacier
The
guy.
Glay Man.
All right. So next up, DDP's on the internet with W. You know what's so funny? I guarantee you, there's like lost to time. Some wrestler said something crazy in one of these WCW.com interviews because three people are listening to them and they probably didn't write it down. And so there's like a
Hmm.
guy who's been a shut-in since 1995, but he got internet. And he's like, you don't understand. DDP uh, said that child porn is okay at the Bash
I
of the 2007.
no, no, but yes, it's clearly not okay. But yes, there's
Yeah,
probably is
but I'm just
something
saying, like,
there.
I
I
know you gotta think there's something in one of these interviews. Like that's
I I agree with you. Either it's something that like nobody there cared. Like DDP didn't care. The fans did. There was like very small amount of fans. Um, somebody said something really stupid that could come back and ruin their career if
do you know
somebody has them.
do you know what I listen to, and it's not on the internet and nobody knows what I'm talking about? Chris Benoit used to have a podcast. He called it an audio update, but it was basically a podcast.
I heard about that. I've never listened to it.
And he when he got hired in WWF, he did a whole breakdown the week after his first week, and he was saying how great Triple H was in the ring, and he was going on about like people talk about Triple H. He's like better than a lot of people in WCW. He's like he's gonna be, and he had like a co-host, and he basically broke down with Kevin. It's gone. It doesn't, and I feel like he kept doing audio updates with this guy throughout. None of it's there, and it's like I know I didn't imagine this. I know it was like one of the first audio things I listened to because it's like he like basically does a CM Punk level shoot on WCW and going over to WWF. He even talks about what Vince said to him and it doesn't exist.
Hmm. Someone has to have them. If it's not on the Internet Archive, or someone just keeps taking it down, or WWE bought them from somebody,
I,
somebody has to have them.
I remember thinking like, wow, this guy like because it was really clear like, wow, this guy has an audio update. And it was a podcast. He was doing a podcast basically, and it was like, and it's crazy. Benoit was like the first wrestler to have a podcast. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, of all people,
Yeah, a guy
Mr.
who can't talk.
Personality. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was good on the podcast. So then Mean Gene plugs the WCW hotline, and then he goes to ringside, and he starts interviewing Raven. And this was so funny because it's such a clash of generations and styles. Um, Raven is Mr. ECW for years in ECW's cutting like promos in a staircase. So Raven's cutting his like mysterious, spooky, goth ECW promo, and Mean Gene goes, "All right, shut up with that gobbledygook." Mean
Yeah.
now come on. And Stevie Richards then jumps up, and I forgot the storyline between Raven and Stevie Richards that like they have an abusive relationship. I forgot that
Yeah.
was the line. That I do think that's very forward. That's a forward thinking for a villain to be abusive, like he's an abusive person. I think that's very forward of because it's like, hey, these people are with me because I'm in an abusive relationship with them. Like I'm toxic. And I think that's good. I think a lot of wrestlers are afraid to go that deep. Even MJF would just like kind of just yell at Wardlow. But can you imagine if he just was like beating Wardlow or telling him he's used like really like being abusive? I think a lot of wrestlers
Yeah.
to go like because Twitter will fuck have a meltdown if you like. Can you imagine if like a male wrestler like Seth Rollins started being abusive towards Becky and she's just taking it?
Oh God,
Like
no.
people wouldn't
They
accept it.
it was I think it's one of Vince McMahon's last storylines, and then it didn't work out. Obviously, it was Kaiser and Gunther.
Yes,
Gunther was starting to be verbally and physically abusive to Kaiser,
yeah, but
and they
Raven and Richards are doing it a lot better in here.
yes,
Yeah. Well, Vince,
they've been doing that for a couple of years, even
yeah.
before
So,
WCW.
and Stevie Richards leaves right away. He does. He barely. I've never actually seen Stevie Richards with WCW. I think he has like one match and then goes back.
Yeah, he
So,
goes real quick.
mhm. But I'm gonna say this: I actually like Raven in WCW. My favorite version of Raven is in WCW because he doesn't fit. He feels like a guy who wandered into the show, but he adds to the show because he's not WCW, he's not NWO, he's not Dungeon of Doom. He's like a third thing, and I think the reason also why Raven in WCW works so well is because of WCW and NWO The Revenge, which clearly positions him as the fourth leader in WCW. You know?
Yeah, yeah, he was on the cover. Which
Hmm.
I think I saw something last week where he was on the cover because whoever was making the game liked him, and that's why
No,
he
it's
was on the
because
cover.
they need to represent the four factions of the BCW. That's what it was. He was the that's why.
Yeah, well, that's what
Who's
Raven said.
able to
They
cover? Who are they
liked
going to
him.
put? Van Hammer,
Hey, why not? Van Hammer, who lasted till 2000 somehow.
bro.
Um, but no, I
Years
think
ago.
Raven was really good in WCW. I think, unfortunately, the ceiling, once he lost to Goldberg, they just kind of left him where he was. They tried to do things. This is later down the line with like bringing in the Sandman hack and going to his family, and I think there's reasons why that didn't work out, like behind the scenes reasons. But I always liked Raven in WCW. I thought it was a good fit. Like you said, even though he was like kind of out there, I thought it was really cool to have him be part of it and have the flock and have this like group that wasn't the NWO. That hey, maybe one day they would all cross paths, but that never came to be.
That never came to be. Yeah, but I enjoy Raven. He should have stayed. He did not fit in WWF because Vince didn't like him. So
Like, went, but
he
yeah,
didn't.
Vince did not like him at all. He went back to
No,
ECW. They did more Tommy Raven stuff, and then he went to
that
WWF, and then
kind of like when they tried to go back to it, kind of like he belonged in WCW. Like he was a WCW guy. He probably would be like, no, they didn't, this, that, and the third. He was. I don't know if you remember. There's a famous meeting in '99 where Bishop goes, if anybody wants to go, here's the door. Raven goes, I'll go, and they give him this full release.
yeah,
But I think it would have been great to see him with Daphne in WCW. Uh,
yeah, they could have had a lot of fun.
yeah. So, all right, the next match, and right away we're switching gears here. Oh no, we're not. Hold on, I skipped one. The next match, and we're still switching gears. Obviously, it's Ultimo Dragon versus Chris Jericho for the Cruiserweight Championship. Mike Tenay joins in, and man, this is fucking fire. This is Jericho. It's so crazy to me. Jericho's like an old '80s guy, and here he's like a cutting edge, like 1997 kid. Like he's
Yeah, he's the
really,
heartthrob there.
yeah, and it's like you're more of a '90s guy than an '80s guy. Whatever. Anyway, um, this match is phenomenal. This is a phenomenal match. This is like something you'd see in AEW today. Like this is I mean, there's Tiger Drivers, there's Hurricane Ranas. These guys are just fucking going at it full speed. It's fantastic, fantastic. I love this match, and this is just if you want to see why people love Jericho, watch this match. What did you think? This
No,
was
this is one of the matches you see on the card. You're like, oh, it's gonna be good, and it lives up to expectations. Ultimo Dragon can almost do no wrong. Chris Jericho, for a very long time, could almost do no wrong, both in the ring.
and he did a
Uh,
lot of
yes, but then it's exactly what you want when you hear about a cruiserweight match. When you hear about classic WCW matches. So Ultimo Dragon, Chris Jericho, no notes, loved it. I don't know if this was the start of Jericho starting to like turn heel. I know he looks in the camera and he's like, I'm not letting this title go. I don't know when he starts to turn into like asshole
I think it's
Jericho.
around January. I think they kind of
Okay.
yeah, it's January because I remember my friend telling me Jericho when Jericho and Mass 2 and 2 to like through a parade at Super Brawl in February of '98.
Okay. Yeah.
So
But
actually,
no,
you know
that's
what?
good.
I fucked up my recap. This match happened before Raven, but whatever. Um, in the grand scheme of things, it's Raven and Jericho, two of the WCW kings. So
Could have
here we
built a lot
go.
around both of them, but
Here we go. Here we go. Now we're talking. I mean, this fucking this little like stretch feels like an AEW show. It does not. It feels like an AEW Forbidden Door show. So we go from Jericho and Ultimo Dragon to NWO Japan, which is Muda and Machiro Chono versus Steiner Brothers. And this is a fucking fire match.
hmm
Um, again, to see Great Muda in the ring with the Steiners is great. His NWO makeup, but it's still great to see Muda back in WCW. And this is like a New Japan style tag match. They're fucking hitting each other as hard as they can. They the referee actually like talks back to the NWO here. It doesn't really
Yeah,
feel like an NWO match. NWO, by the way, NWO Japan lasts longer than NWO WCW
yeah, they
America.
were around for yeah, they were. You're not. I remember, I just watched some video on the Great Muda and his different personas,
Yeah,
and
so
it was around.
this hard hitting match, it's Steiner's at their best. We haven't seen, I mean, you haven't been watching with me, but we haven't seen a classic Steiner match in a while. This is it. I thought this was a fantastic, this again, another match that would not be out of place at a modern AEW show. What did you think?
I think this was also like you said, it's a really good stretch. I was excited when I was like, oh, who's the starter fighting? I was like, Muda and Chono, holy shit, and it delivered. I forgot that that was their finisher for a little bit. That like top rope DDT madness,
Mhm.
which I was like, people should do that today. Like that's a crazy move to do and to trust somebody to do it. I know the Bulldog. I forgot about the DDT. But I was like, oh my God, like Snyder's actually doing this.
It's
Um, it was good. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. If WWE wasn't so scared about necks, and I believe and I understand why, they should bring that back as a team move.
um that'd be crazy. Would be crazy. Which we'll call it. Yeah, but you know what? I think they only bust this out for Japanese wrestlers because they don't give a shit. I don't think that Kevin Nash was taking this move. So
No, absolutely not.
what do you
Kevin
want
Nash
me
is
to do?
barely taking the Bulldog.
I'm barely gonna take a body slam, so you better figure
Yeah,
this out.
but it hit that Campbell clutch. That's a good impression,
How about I just win? and
which he did. He was a
I
big
don't
winner.
think any of these finishes.
It's a huge winner.
All right, so here we go. Again, we're continuing the. It is you watch this show and you're like, this is like a show when Hulk Hogan had all the power, right? You're like, what is this? This feels like Tony Khan stepped through a time machine, booked this whole thing. Another fucking insane match. Um, hold on one second. I'm still proud of you, brother. Stop hitting me. Another insane match. We got Juventud, Hector Garza, and Liz Mark Jr. taking on La Parca, Psychosis, and Villano 4. Sadly, Sonny Ono's here. They can't have everything. The crowd's not into this, but again, this is another. I call it state of the art because I think sometimes these guys in '97 have better psychology behind their crazy moves than some of these newer cats in AEW or TNA or CMML. This is another just constant innovative moves, constant high flying action. It's just nonstop. Hoovy does a springboard dive off the back of Garza. Of course, Hector Garza, the father of Angel Garza. Is that his name now?
I
What's his
think he's
name?
a cousin or like nephew, uncle or something.
Well, fuck him then. So it was great. I mean, they do a little switcheroo. I think that's like I feel like the Volano switcheroo. Maybe they did in Mexico, but I do feel like that's like Dusty Rhodes or Kevin Sullivan. We gotta put some old school, baby. You guys gotta
Yeah.
switch it up, baby, because that's what we would do in NWA. So I know you want to do your hotline bullshit for little Tony Khan, but but my son is in grade school. He don't give a shit. So we're gonna do this switch up. We're gonna put a little southern bullshit here while you do your flips. Keep flipping. Flip,
This
flip,
is
flip.
a that's how you know it's a good pay-per-view. You're breaking out the impressions, breaking out the Dusty, the Nash. You're having a good time. It put you in a good mood.
Peruse, but we gotta do a little bit of cheating here. We gotta do a little. The Volano's lost. What an idiot.
Yeah, that was that. That's what I think was like. For those was a lot of fun. That they did the star thing where they're all in the corner in the center, and the Parker was doing I forgot whatever move that was fun. Psychosis almost killed Hooven too with that power bomb. Um, but the Viano, I was like, how did the fresh one lose? Like you came in, you did the twin magic, and you lost pretty decisively. Like it wasn't even like like hard. You should have kicked out. You should have been the like healthier one, and he just lost. It's just like okay,
that,
I
that,
guess.
that's the twist at it. You switch your rule. You think you're gonna win because you fresh, but you a bitch and you lose even worse than the guy who got beat. Baby,
And then I saw him up trying to argue with the referee, like I'm not the guy. Like you still would have got in trouble. Like
I
you
know.
still lose. It was that I just thought that was funny. But no, I like all of those guys, especially Psychosis, Laparca, Juventud.
I love a park. So
and it was great to see them all.
Dude, I know I sound like a broken record, and it's just so crazy to me how bad this company. You watch like how, dude, they got. I get mad. I get mad. They got it more than any other company got it. More in the AEW has never gotten it the way WCW has it this summer. Like they understood and put on a good wrestling show. Like, and it proved that like you don't need the WWE Vince McMahon. I sometimes I feel like AEW's formatting is a little bit too close to WWE. It's hard to say exactly what I mean by that, but I wasn't. I remember not being into AEW because I did feel like even though it's doing action that Triple H and Vince wouldn't do, the formatting and the camera and the entrances felt very WWE.
Mm.
WCW proves that you don't need to follow Vince's formula to be successful. And I do kind of feel like people have been following the Vince formula for decades now, you know?
Yeah, it's the only game in town to a lot of people, so it's hard to
No, and I do feel
shake
like even
that.
though a lot of AEW fans won't admit it, they're probably if I said this now, there's subconsciously still a lot of Vince beats in how AEW does things since the beginning. And I think it's because it's almost like people don't know they're doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
Yeah,
and the one thing that he doesn't do, the one thing he does that Vince, which is just nonstop on a pay per view, that's one thing he should adjust because it's like, no, you need to give people a break because people will take. I remember when I went to Full Gear, yeah, we sat near each other.
yeah, we were there.
Daniel Garcia, Jungle Boy, our break. Okay, you're not going to give us a break. We're taking this, and those guys wrestled the silence.
Yeah,
Everybody went and did something else for a little bit so they could be fresh for the main matches.
no, that's my gripe with AEW too. I mean, I think other people aren't like that. They like the it's more bang for your buck kind of mentality, no pun intended. But I get tired. I don't know. I'm an older wrestling fan. I get tired. I get exhausted. So you're giving me a 12 match show,
Mhm.
and then the last five matches are like all the main events. I'm like, oh boy, one of these main events is gonna have to suffer. I don't know which one, but it's gonna
Yeah,
be one of them.
well, dude, like if you don't give people a break, they're going to create their own break,
Yeah,
and that suck for the wrestlers.
yeah.
Same when I never saw Hangman Page versus CM Punk because I forget who I was with had to leave, and they were driving me. So I left. And the only reason I went to the theater to see that pay per view was to see CM Punk versus Hangman Adam Page.
Mm,
I didn't see it, and people were like, "You didn't miss much. The match wasn't that good." And but it's like I had to make that my break because you didn't give me a break, and you
yeah.
didn't show. I like Adam Cole. Like it's just like, bro, you got anyway. Let's talk about this match. Um, Benoit versus Sullivan again, and I'm being a broken record, but Benoit and Sullivan have fantastic chemistry. You weren't around. Maybe you were around. We did Halloween Havoc 95. I was like just shitting on Sullivan. I thought he was garbage in 95 and 94. I was like, this guy looks like a buffoon. Like he's not a legend. He's nothing. And
I might have been around for that. I don't. Mhm.
his little run with Benoit. And by the way, he more or less sticks. He never wrestles again in WCW. Like he sticks to this. He just goes to the back where he should have been. But his little like, I think they also wrestled the May show. This like, no, maybe they don't wrestle at the May. They wrestle at another show that maybe you weren't watching. Because no, last month it was Ming versus Benoit, right?
Yeah, they said he was going through the Dungeon of Doom, like one
Yeah.
by one to get to Kevin Sullivan.
So okay, so I forget where their last match was, but it was February. February was their last match, which you didn't see. But this run with Benoit, just insane matches, great matches. And this is more or less, even though Jimmy Hart kind of says we're gonna go on without you, you let everybody down. This is the end of Dungeon of Doom, thank God. But these guys kill each other. Jacqueline cost Kevin Sullivan the match, which was her main squeeze. But man, this was a great match, and you know, I forget there was Nancy Benoit's sister tells a story about this match that like I think this is where Sullivan found out it wasn't a work him and Nancy. I don't know, but like,
Mm.
or maybe Sullivan and the sister talk after the match, but something happens with the family after this match. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't know when that actually happened, But no, great match. Jacqueline, a lot of credit to Jacqueline. She just gets involved, which makes sense. If you're having a no holds barred match, you have a manager, Jimmy Hart too. Everyone should be beating the shit out of the person that is involved, unless the referee sends them back, even though the referee shouldn't, because it's a no holds barred kind of match. So her right away just attacking Chris Benoit, Jimmy Hart getting some kicks in, just made perfect sense for them to do. Her turning on him, I guess they just had the. If he wasn't gonna be around, I get that. But no, it was a good show. I mean, it was a good match. You can't go wrong with it. Oh,
And
I did
now,
not like watching Benoit like pick her up or like toss her around for reasons, obviously. But
oh,
it was still good.
yeah, it's it's crazy, man, because fucking this guy did what he did, but like you when you watch these shows uncut, you get lost in his matches. Like it's you do get caught and you almost forget. Not that you yeah, it's almost like you get caught and you just kind of like he's so good you almost forget like how it ends, you know?
Yeah,
'Cause-
no, I mean, it's a big tragedy, not just for the wrestling, but obviously what he did. It sucks because wrestling was this man's life, and he has a legacy. There's very few bad Chris Benoit matches,
yeah,
and now every match you watch with him, there's a giant asterisk, and there always will be, and it sucks.
yeah. My thing with the Benoit thing is I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch a best of him, but I do want my shows uncut and uncensored, and I think it's bad mental. It's a bad mental exercise to just think about him murdering his child while you're watching a show like a Bash TV 97. You're doing more damage to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think you
Caught up, and
he's part of it. Like
yeah,
it's taking him out. It doesn't make sense. Like I'm not like you said. I'm not gonna watch the best of. I'm not gonna look up like a compilation online. If it's in the card, sure, yeah, it's here. I will watch it. The same thing
and I
like
think
playing a game. Like if you're playing like a GM mode or one of those like wrestling sims, and you're doing an old path and you're like on 1996 or something, to remove him completely, it's just like that doesn't really make
yeah,
sense.
and you also I almost like enjoy I try to enjoy more what Ming and what Jacqueline and what Sullivan are doing more so than him because it takes two to tango, and as good as Benoit is, if the other person is not that good, the match stinks. So
Yeah.
again, I just think like if you because I think like sometimes people just sit and they harp on it. It's like it just does no good. He's a part of this world. You have to just get caught up in the moment, and if you can't get caught up in the moment, you shouldn't watch the old shows. So apparently, which apparently nobody does, which is why the archives are disappearing. Anyway,
Apparently.
we're going up to the next match. A guy worse than Chris Benoit, Jeff Jarrett
Oh
takes
boy.
Steve McMichael. Best thing I can say is this match is short. I've been enjoying Steve McMichael stuff. I'm not a Jarrett guy. I kind of feel like I kind of feel like Jarrett was never it, and he never will be it. And man, as soon as they took him off TV, I can't believe the amount of TV time they gave him at the beginning of the year. I can't believe that he sat in that ring and got to cut promos with MJF. Just
Yeah.
mind-boggling to me that they were going down that road for a little bit. But yeah, Jeff Jarrett. I mean, it's he just does. I don't think he's ever had it. And, I listen to his podcast with Conrad, and I like it. But sometimes they talk about him like he's more important than he is. And to be fair, he started TNA, but he doesn't have it in the ring. And this it's been months now, and these matches. First, the storyline's boring. It just keeps dragging, and it just doesn't do it for me. So I would say this match probably one of the weaker matches on the show.
Yeah, I agree. I think like you said, it was short and that's probably the best part about it. But when it came up next, I was like, oh no. Like I didn't want to watch it. It was you heard Jeff Jarrett's Blues Traveler music, which is like it was like a combination of like there are two singles, which it sounded like to me. I'm not a huge Blues Traveler guy, but I know Run Around, I know Hook. And it sounded like whoever made the song put those two songs together, and that's how you had Jeff Jarrett's music. But As a long term, I don't know because I watched TNA, but I didn't like invest hard in TNA like other people did, so I can't really critique that run. Um, I think
He just doesn't have it.
it just did not. It was a lot of it was forced. I think not working with Stone Cold, which is not his fault entirely,
Stone Cold
definitely
was right,
hurt him. Stone Cold was right.
but
Some
it's
people
like
would say, but
Stone Cold is the biggest. Like this guy doesn't have it, and what like it to me in '99, like oh Austin want you to work with somebody. I think like there's more an argument to be made that he should work with Val Venus or Ken or Jericho in that era than Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett just especially because he was getting beat up by China too. It's
yeah.
like he was right to say no because all that's going to do is weaken Austin and make this guy better, and this guy doesn't have what it takes.
He said the same thing about Mark Merrow because Merrow lost to Sable. How can the guy who lost to Sable? It's sexist, but it's true. Like how could the guy lose to Sable and
Maybe now, I mean,
become the
maybe
world champion? Yeah,
like nowadays you could have like MJ or MJF lose to Sasha Banks and still put him in a serious feud. But the discourse, if they did do a match where he lost to her, the discourse behind that would be insane.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, but it's just I don't know. It's just he doesn't have it. And Austin sometimes like I think that the internet wants to like always like, oh, this person like went again. He refused. Like it's always a bad thing. It's always a bad thing. Why should you work with everybody? Look, I mean, Tony Khan devalues Edge by having him wrestle Lee Moriarty. You should say no to people.
it's always Lee Moriarty, which is the example that comes up because I use Lee Moriarty as the example all the time, and I have nothing against him. It
I'll use
just,
wasting one of CM Punk's return matches on Bobby Fish. Waste of
oh
time.
yeah, I
Waste.
mean, which also was another sticking point in Punk eventually going off.
Yeah.
Bobby Fish didn't want to sell the GTO or whatever. He got up at like 2.99 or 3 exactly. Like Bobby Fish just refused to sell it, which very stupid, very unprofessional. But it was, yeah, he just back to Jarrett. I think he also more so than Triple H, or at least it looked more obvious that he would put himself in these positions. Or when he was with Russo, like he was like a 4-time WCW champion in a year, and you're like, how the fuck did this happen? And there's no like match quality to actually like go with why this guy is a champion. It's just all shenanigans. And
Well,
then
he says to Conrad that he had to be on top because he was like the only guy that was on TV. So like I have to point, and it's like, but dude, you weren't over. Like if I start a company, like by that logic, Tony Khan should have Tony Nese with the fucking title.
yeah, I
He
mean
was
Sean O'Hare was a big looking guy. Why can't he just come in and destroy everybody or Mike Awesome and then he's the champion?
I like that's not no, dude. Like no, like the TNA would have done better if you had if you put all the new guys on top in 2002. No one cared about you. You didn't have anybody. You didn't have anybody that was on TV that anybody cared about. It didn't matter they were on TV.
Yeah.
It your little butt buddy Russo ruined it for all of you.
Yeah, he
So
was definitely champion for a long, long, long time.
yeah, so it was just it was all your fault. So. Now we get a promo with Hogan and Rodman, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Hogan, is just being evil Hogan, and Rodman's playing along, and they got the black and white thing, and I thought this was a solid promo from these guys. What do you think?
Yeah, it was fine. It was Hogan stuff. Like I didn't think too much about it. It's Hogan being over the top, Rodman being cool, reminding you that this is coming. So I assume if you're watching this for the first time and for whatever reason you forget that this match is happening, you're like, oh yeah, Hulk Hogan's gonna be on there. So I think it was good.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. Next up, now the whole show they've been hyping that there's a mystery partner for our best friend DDP. It's going to be Savage and Hall versus DDP and his mystery partner. Now, who's his mystery partner? Kurt Hennig. So I'm going to say this. This was the worst match on the card. And I'll tell you why. Number one, Kurt Hennig shows up out of shape, looking like he doesn't want to be there. Right? And I don't know if he's trying to, because eventually he turns on DDP. I don't know if he's trying to play the character. Second reason why it was bad, Kurt Hennig gets in the ring, and Scott Hall points out that he has a gun. And I'm like, you've killed his return. I know they're friends. They actually were friends. Maybe this was like a rib. You killed this guy's return the second he showed up because you automatically are like, I'm kind of thinking he has a gut, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm just being like, I'm body shaming. And then Scott Hall like throws a party for Kurt Hennig's gut. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah. This guy's a big, you just said that this guy was supposed to be excited about was a big fat slob. And,
No, yeah.
what?
No, I agree. It was just kind of weirdly done the entire match. I did like me being a big 1992 fan. Mr. Perfect, Scott Hall, I mean, and Macho Man in a tag match again, revolved around a mystery partner. That
And
was a nice little touch.
the announcers kind of vaguely allude to that. Yes. Yes. That was a nice touch. Um, so Kurt Hennig turns on DDP, and then Savage pins DDP with 1 foot on him. And this is kind of the beginning, I think, of the problems with the NWO. Is that you don't need to bury your opponents that hard. And what I mean by that is Kurt Hennig, you already know Kurt Hennig's going to turn on DDP. You don't need to point out that Kurt Hennig's like shit. Also, I don't know why Kurt Hennig didn't wear different gear because he clearly wasn't ready to wrestle, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you don't need to point out that he looks like shit. You don't need to pin DDP like a bitch like that. The crowd is chanting for Sting. Sting doesn't come.
No, singing coming.
I just feel like you're telling people, and they do this over and over again. Eventually, people get the message and they stop watching. You thought DDP was going to rise up and stop us. He's not. He's just going to go back to where he belongs, the mid card. And they do this with a lot of guys. And I think a lot of the excitement in this era is that DDP, Benoit, Guerrero, a lot of Jericho are eventually going to take on the NWO. Like they're eventually going to, and I think around 98, you realize, because I remember this was the complaint when I got back into wrestling. These guys are never there's a glass ceiling. These guys are never going above that. They're just going
Yeah.
to go here and then that's it. And people lost interest because it's like, and I think this is the start of people realizing that because people are not, they're not booing, but they just saw DDP lose like a fucking idiot last month and now they're seeing it again, you know?
Yeah, no, that didn't help him at all. Even the turn was kind of awkward. He gets whipped over the ropes. He can't do the fall over the rope. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, so he falls out. Then he hits DDP in the back, and you would have thought he'd shot him with a gun. With the way DDP sold that, and it didn't really help DDP at all. Just left people confused, and could have been better.
Could have been better, could
Should
have
have
been
been
worse.
better.
I don't know how much worse, but yeah, this is just like, God, I'm seeing, and I think sometimes, I like Savage, but I think they do little things because they're paranoid about how over everyone else is getting. And I'm not talking just about DDP. I'm talking about you can even put Steven Michael in there. You can even put Ultimo and Dragon. You can even put so Savage has to do something to kind of let you know none of that means anything. I'm always going to be a top guy. You
Yeah,
know,
no, they're very protective of their spots. WCW had a very deep roster, which say Savage and a lot of them go away that Monday. You focus on this younger roster and still have a few top guys, you'll still be okay. And
but
these
what
guys didn't want to they didn't want to lose their spots. They didn't want to they would hold on to it whatever way they could, even if that meant it was the detriment of their opponents.
and the thing about it is that like because I think this was the sentiment back then, and I think Jim Ross would push this sentiment is that the main events can't hang with the undercard, and it's the seniors tour, and at the bottom line is, and especially when we get to the next match, these guys can hang. It's a different style. It would be stupid to expect Savage and Piper to do what Ultimate Dragon's doing, but I don't want them to do that. I want them to do this. So yes, by Meltzer math, Roddy Piper and Savage are not as good workers as Ultimo Dragon. That's a lie.
Yeah,
I think that would get into their heads and they would kind of like try to sabotage the Ultimo Dragons of the world. And it's like, no, you all complement each other. You all complement. It would be boring if you all wrestle Ultimo Dragons, sorry, or if you all wrestle like Roddy Piper.
yeah. No, I don't want to see Ultimate Dragon wrestling like Roddy Piper. I don't want to see Roddy Piper wrestling like Rey Mysterio. I mean, the video game is cool, but I mean, in
It
real
is kind of,
life,
it is kind of fun to like have like Kevin Nash. Do you remember that Kevin Nash would do a tope, a running tope in WCW NWO The Revenge?
I didn't even know he could do that in the game. That's crazy.
He can do a running. He can do a splash to the outside, and it is kind of fun to have Nash pull that out against like Psychosis.
That's
Like
crazy. They
it would
do
have
them
been
in the new games now. It drives me nuts in the new games because they used to have like big guys didn't really climb to the top rope. It was just one of the things that the AI made sure didn't happen. And I remember when they did 2K22, Andre the Giant was like constantly on the top rope, diving at you, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like get off the ropes. But it was just not it's nonsense.
um.
It also isn't the sorry. I think it's more annoying because it's not a cartoony game anymore. They try and make it realistic like Madden and NBA 2K and all the other ones. So if you're gonna like pick a lane. If you're gonna make it
I
realistic, don't have them diving like that. If you're not gonna make it realistic, then go nuts.
the last one I had, I did like I put it on the highest difficulty level, and I had Roman Reigns defend his title against random people, and I'll tell you, man, some of the matches he had with Austin Theory and what was the other fucking guy? Not Oni Baloney. What the fuck? Some other like
Only
NXT
Lorcan?
Trick Williams maybe. Um, it was a very realistic of how would it look like on Raw if Trick Williams or Austin Theory came this close to beating him. Like
Yeah.
it very like the way that Austin Theory came back and the way Roman eventually shuts him down felt very much like a real TV match. So I'll say that when simming it, like
Yeah.
Austin, like Roman didn't do anything that he wouldn't do, you know.
Yeah. If only it
So
was fun to play it that way. Because I mean, I've quit for the year, but there will be moments when I was playing the game and like you're like, all right, I got it, perfect time to hit the RKO. I counted him, here it goes, and the button just would not react, and you're just like, what?
by the way, Brock Lesnar's being put back in the game.
Yeah, yay.
I don't know if you saw the news today.
Yeah, he's in. I know they're putting Goldberg and Nikki Bella behind a paywall apparently.
That's
Same
bullshit.
same 2K
But
shit.
I'm not getting the game.
No, no,
Goldberg should just be in the fucking Nikki Bella and Goldberg should just be in the fucking game.
they were
Like,
supposed to be, and apparently you have to like buy whatever the island expansion pack is to. I don't know. I'm not playing it, so I'm not getting mad.
that's mobile game bullshit. Why? I heard AJ Styles TNA is also behind a paywall. Like,
Yeah,
oh, give me everyone. Give
especially
me.
if you buy that $120 season pass thing, you should be able to get whoever you want.
That's why I'm not. I'm not. I remember because I was moving when it came out, so like I'm like spending so much money on the move that I'm like I'll buy it later. And now I'm even like, well, and I'm glad it because I had it moved, I would have bought it day one, right?
Mm,
And it's like no, like I want just give me every I'll tell you AEW, you want to beat WWE because they fucked went around with the DLC. They thought they could pull this bullshit and it didn't. Everyone, the DLC is free. You get everyone. You pay for the super duper Tony Khan makes love to Britt Baker edition.
huh.
Everyone, you get all of you. You don't have to pay an extra dollar for anything, and that's how you'll beat them. But
I
fucking
think yeah, also a better friggin' game because that game died
that
out
game,
really fast.
that game was not like No Mercy. I
No,
don't understand what
we
it is,
we gotta stop trying to replicate No Mercy too. Like it's over. No
but
Mercy is No Mercy.
why no one. It's not even that hard of an engine. I don't know why people can't. It's like people can replicate Doom. They can so many different game genres people can replicate. They can't replicate No Mercy. It's crazy to me. It's crazy.
I don't know. We had No Mercy. We had Here Comes the Pain. Shut Your Mouth for like the big three in the 2000s, and
Yeah, I do
it's
think
it
I like the version of 2K something where you did John Cena's career mode. You know which one that one?
23. Yeah, yeah.
That one, whose career mode was the next year? Oh, it was WrestleMania. I like the commercial where Cody Rhodes sits up at the end of WrestleMania 39 and my story isn't finished.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah.
cool.
They put work into it, but there's always just a little bullshit that's there, and you're just like, maybe we're just too old for it. I don't know.
I saw like the island. This one felt like a little bit too like they want you to. I'm not putting that much money. Just give me everybody. Like, but
Yeah,
I think I'm pretty good with the roster. I have the last three on my hard drive on the PS4. I think I'm pretty good with those rosters. For
yeah.
I don't need to spend $150 to play a paywall game to get AJ Lee and Brock Lesnar. You know, it is nice to
Right.
hear wrestling. I always did want to have Brock Lesnar take on AJ Lee, but you know,
Maybe next year.
it's not the end of the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
All right, let's get back to
Big
it.
tangent. Yeah.
This match was so. Let me tell you something. This match was great because this match was different, and I think it's WCW's biggest strengths is they showed you so many different match styles and so many different ways to work a match, and it all complements one another. I do think nowadays AEW fans would reject a match worked this style, but this was my favorite Piper match since he returned a year ago in WCW. It's Piper versus Flair. They were a team. Now they're not. Now they're duking it out. Um, this is just old school 80s Southern. This is wrestling the way we liked it and the way that it was supposed to be before Trump ruined everything. Gosh darn it. Um, this is a really good match. The Horsemen try to interfere. Roddy Piper fends them off, and he wins by submission. I really, 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 really enjoyed this match, and I think it's important to have matches like this on the card in addition to the lucha matches. What did you think?
It was good. It was two people who know exactly what they're doing. Roddy Piper, Ric Flair. They could wrestle in their sleep, and 9 times out of 10 it'll be a good match. I was confused. I mean, I think the Horsemen. I guess they were like shades of gray, like in the middle at this time. Because I know next month they fight, or in 2 months from now they fight the NWO in War Games. But so they play the faces there.
It would go back and forth. It would
Yeah,
go
that's
back.
what it looked like. So to see Benoit, who we were just cheering for, help out Flair, who was playing the heel the whole match, and Mongo, who was also playing the good guy in his match, play the heel role. Which is a part of me. I'm like, I understand, I get it. That's kind of cool, but it also like was a little confusing. Like, wait a minute, where are they right now? But outside of that, it was good. Can't complain, especially with
Yeah,
two people who were people who made people think they are past their prime can still go and deliver, and the crowd is hot for them the entire way.
I yeah, I was really I kind of was like because Piper. Although let me tell you something, Piper since he's gotten with Flair in May. I mean, the Outsiders did what they did last month, but he's been kind of been renewed. I think when Flair comes around, he stops fucking around in the ring. He stops being like high and mighty Piper, like I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Hmm.
A real he gets real graps Piper when Flair shows up. So and Piper and Flair, they're like people always talk about the rivalry that Hogan had with Piper, or people talk about like I think Piper and Flair as frenemies is a really fun dynamic. You
Yeah,
know, I even love their tag title run in 2006. That was great. That's how Piper found out he had cancer?
in the tag run with the WWE medical or something.
No, what happened was so they win the belt and then they do a match where Edge and Randy Orton beat the crap out of both of them and they lose the
Yeah.
title. Piper, because he had that match, had felt like a pain or something in his body. So he goes to Vince sends him to the medical facility, which is what Vince says. And they do tests on him and like, holy shit, you have cancer. And he starts going with and he said if the fans didn't vote me to team with Flair, because the choices I voted for Dusty Rhodes. I wanted Dusty Rhodes and Flair because I thought that
Hmm.
was a great way to end that saga, right? I was
Yeah.
pissed. But I think it was Piper, Rhodes, and Sergeant Slaughter, right? Those are three guys. The
Yeah.
thing for me to win. they would have caught the cancer, and I would have died. I would have like gotten sicker without knowing. And he was pretty. He was like, thanks, and then he died anyway. But hey,
Yes, but that's not
beat it.
immediately. But yes, he did beat it. And no, that's you never know how the world is gonna work out and what's gonna take you where. No, it sounds very cliche, but you just never know. And something like that and the world of wrestling, which is given, it was taken so much from him and also given him so much, is the reason that he was able to at least have a few extra years with his family, with the fans, and that's awesome.
I would have killed him because I wanted Dusty Rhodes to.
Well, yes, at the time, that was the biggest thing in the world too.
I,
But
I I do think that I do think Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair it's over now, but that would have been a great little tag title run in WWF.
I think so. It would have been cool. It would have been cool to see, especially because Dusty has like a match. I think a couple years later against Randy Orton. That's pretty much like his last
Around that
match.
same time period, yeah. Um, yeah, that would have been fun. And what would have been fun actually? What would have been fun? Dusty Rhodes and either Gold Dust or Cody with the tag belts. That would have been a fun little thing.
Hmm.
Or that
Yeah.
would have been a fun little moment.
They
Although
would
I
have
do,
said a hardcore Holly. Well, then they would have been the first father son tag team and not Ray and Dominic.
yeah, that would have been a cool little moment. Anyway, but you killed Dusty Rhodes, just like you killed this next man.
You gotta stop saying.
Would Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman taking on Lex Luger and the Giant. Right off the bat, I got to say the entrance I wasn't feeling. Tell you why I wasn't feeling it because they dub over Voodoo Child, so it doesn't, and they
Hmm.
noise, so that doesn't have the. It doesn't feel the way it should feel. But this is a big match. This is the biggest match they could have done at the time. This is very serious. This is very serious. I will say that Rodman does a good job. Now, is he pulling the bullshit that Logan Paul and Jelly Roll did? No, but he's really good for the time. Um, and also, I don't think that if Rodman got injured here, that would be the whole topic of the Last Dance. Uh,
Hmm.
this fucking idiot tried to do a fucking Hangman Adam Page clothesline. Which, by the way, I didn't know that guy existed, so I didn't know why he was doing that move. And he fucking hurt his ankle, and then we lost the championship to the Knicks in '98, which is how it should have went down.
I mean, I
Um,
would have loved it.
I think also like I don't think Rodman. If you watch this match with modern eyes, and you're like, well, Rodman's not doing what fucking Bad Bunny did. Rodman has a lot to lose if he fucks up in this match, and the city of Chicago has a lot to lose.
Absolutely.
So I think what he does is good. Uh, the one thing that kind of fucks it up is Sting comes out. It's Kevin Nash. It's
Yes.
ridiculously Kevin Nash. And the announcers have to pretend that it's Sting. And they have to pretend that Sting, Heenan goes, like, have been working the NW the whole time. Yeah, he's been beating the shit out of the NWO for 6 months now, but yes, it's all a ploy to help Rodman win this one match. Um, it's so obvious it's Kevin Nash. However, this did lead to a funny exchange on the Tony Schiavone podcast because Connor read a fan question. Tony goes, "Why did you keep calling it Sting when it clearly was Kevin Nash?" And he goes, "Because that's what my boss has told me to do." He goes, "A fat woman could have came out with it in a tutu, and if they said to me, say that's Sting, I'm gonna yell, it's Sting like a fucking idiot for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter who walks in the ring. People say it's Sting. I'm gonna say it's Sting. Like, that's my job." And that to me crystallizes a lot of what happens in WCW. That like this guy, if he's told to say something dumb, he's just gonna say the dumb thing. But also it's like, yeah, you're right, that's your job. Like, I don't care you think I'm
Yeah.
dumb. This is what they want me to say. You
So
know?
it's like it's Christian. When Christian came back in 2010,
Oh
and
yeah.
he was told Todd Grisham was told to undersell it because Vince McMahon's a demon. So that's what
He,
Doctor.
uh, anyway, that was a
But
good. He had some quiet bangers on ECW. Go back and rewatch it before you.
he did. Well, yeah, we don't have that much time left, but 2009. I meant not 2010. But yeah, it was a good match. I think Rodman was perfect in his role. Like you didn't want Rodman being Rey Mysterio. You didn't want Rodman overselling, being able to suddenly beat Lex Luger and the Giant. He got his hits in. He got his pops. He couldn't hide the smile off his face at sometimes, which is also nice to see.
Yeah. And,
and they
and
just they did like Hogan as well with the selling. Lex Luger looks like the fucking man. Like they really put the ball behind Lex Luger there. And yeah, that was the most confusing part was the Sting because you everyone could tell it was Kevin Nash. I thought before he walked into the ring, I thought they brought back NWO Sting again, and I was like, oh, he's back. And then I saw him do the step over the ropes, and I was like, oh, come on, at least go through the middle rope or something if you're gonna do it. But
not Sting. Like the crowds would be like, "This is obviously not Sting," but
yeah,
like,
they weren't popping. They were just like, and they're like, yeah, if he's been beating them up for months, it just didn't make sense. And then they lose. So I was like, what was the whole point of that? We didn't even need it.
dude, this was I had a Mandela effect because I could have swore that Rodman and Hogan win this match. I could have
I thought they won.
that they
I,
won, and
I
when
thought they
Luger
won too.
one changed the timeline because Luger wins and then fucks up everyone, which is great. That's the right move. That's the right move. And
Yeah.
kudos to Rodman for because up to this point, celebrities always kind of came out of things in good shape.
Hmm.
Not only a heel, he's made to look like an idiot. And I think that that's kudos to Rodman and kudos to Hogan because I think there's a point in Hogan's life where he would have been like, "Well, Rodman's on TV. Me and him have to look like $1 million."
Yeah.
Kudos for agreeing that yeah, the right move right now is to make Luger look like the fucking man.
Yeah.
You know,
No, they had Luger tap him out. They had Luger put him in the put Robin in the torture rack. So there's your newspaper photo. Um your headline there. It was it was well done. Lex Luger looked like a star. I think you said this last month. If they weren't gonna put the title on Sting, they could have put it on Luger for a longer time.
100 Nitro in 2 weeks. He
Yeah,
does
yeah.
it at Road Wild, and
With
then
the
that's
way
it.
he got with the momentum he had, he could have held it for a little longer. Because the guys made it that way, and I'm not the biggest Luger person, but they he dominated.
Luger has really good matches in WCW. Not so much in WWF, but in WCW
No,
up to this point, I'm wondering when he stops giving a shit because it's not now. 98, he's fucking checked out. 99, he's on another planet. But he is fucking he has some bangers. He just never gets the credit that he deserves or and it's really weird. It's like people like will just tell you people will say to your face like Luger's a bad worker and you're like, "Do you watch his matches?" No. What the fuck are you talking about? Like the guy's not fucking Shawn Michaels, but he's not a bad worker at all.
yeah, that's the reason he kept being in that position.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he does. I think because eventually, like, if everyone just says you suck, and like, you eventually, okay, I guess I'm just gonna suck because when I try, they put me in a position where I look stupid, which is what's gonna happen next month. So I'm like, whatever. Who gives a shit? Fuck that. I'm the total package. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rodman, and I also think this was smart. I'll tell you what. A lot of people did not like Rodman, and I think it's like some of that racism where if a black guy does anything different, people are like, sit down and shit it. But people,
Yeah,
and a lot, I remember people, do you remember this? People were like, predicting was that the Bulls would lose because of his antics. Like, his antics are going to distract them, and that's why they're going to lose. Like, people were like, almost wanted to be like, see, like, you guys, even though Jordan's so good, because this guy's such a fucking idiot. And people wanted him to get beat up. So I think this was the right move because you're giving the world or some part of the world. I didn't give a shit. But you're giving like a big part of the world what they want to see, which is this guy getting his ass kicked. So I also think there's also probably fans of the teams being like, "Fucking acts like an idiot. He still beat my team."
yeah.
I think it would. I think you got it. You gave a lot of people what they wanted to see, which was Robin getting beat up. So
No, I think so too. I think you took the I mean that's the whole thing of wrestling, right? You have a villain that you're supposed to not stand to the point that you want to pay to see them get their ass kicked. And Dennis Rodman was that person to some people, and to other people, they wanted to see him just succeed. And you got to get everybody's money at that time, and it worked. It just absolutely worked.
do you remember a basketball player having heel heat like he did? And it's not even like he was a bad. It's not like John Rocker had heel heat because he was a racist. And by the way, he's
Yeah,
double on his racism. But
like
I've never seen a guy get heel heat in real sports like Rodman did. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that wild? Like,
yeah. I mean, he was like bucking trends. He had the different colored hair. He'd be out all night, and then he would play, and not only would he play, he would play well. Like it was just a frustrating thing for a lot of traditional sports journalists and fans of or detractors. They just did not like him, but he was a household name. Just he was right there with Michael Jordan, right there with Scottie Pippen, not as big of a household name, but still really big. But he was right there with them.
Trying for the narrative to be Jordan was denied his legacy because of Rodman's stupidity, and I think it frustrated a lot of people that no, this guy still acts like a fucking idiot, and Jordan cemented his legacy as the greatest of all time. And
Yes.
I was a Knicks fan, so it frustrated me. But now I look back and it's what they accomplished that team. I wear a lot of Chicago Bulls hats, and I always tell people that I'm more of a fan of the '90s than I am. But what they accomplished, I mean, yeah, there's not enough documentaries about it, quite frankly. So you
There is
know,
The Last Dance, which is pretty damn good.
The Last Dance, and
And they talk
well,
about the dunk. That's I heard briefly when
let me
John
tell you,
Starks dunks on Michael
the
Jordan.
Last Dance with WCW being a good company, we're gonna find out. Let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week might be a little different. We might have a three-man booth here, like WCW. But next week
They had
we're
a
going.
four-man booth for some of it too. I was like, my goodness. But yes, keep going.
I like Nate jumping in. I do. I've said this to Andrew Lee on the podcast, and listeners have heard me say this, but I'll say this. I think AEW needs their version of Mike Tenay, who comes in when foreign talent or people, and basically breaks down why you should give a shit. And you listen to him because you know this guy's an expert.
I
So
mean,
I think
technically, it's Excalibur, right?
Excalibur is just mumbling. Excalibur ain't it. Excalibur ain't it.
Okay.
He's got to go. I'm done with. I'm done. He's got to go. Like he's not in the mask, all that shit. No, 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 no. I would sooner listen to Vince McMahon on commentary now,
Oh, come on. No.
Vince now, than fucking.
No.
I would listen to Kevin Kelly before. Anyway, that guy stinks too. That guy's another guy. Never got people just fooled themselves thinking Kevin Kelly was good because he worked for New Japan. We're supposed to everything in New Japan is like fucking. We're supposed to pretend that everything's awesome there because we're
Apparently,
fans of.
it's kind of mid right now, but I don't watch, so I don't know.
Fuck 'em. All right. Next 4 weeks. Here we go. Let's get serious here. Next week, things start changing for everybody. It's a pivotal event. SummerSlam '97. Bret Hart versus Undertaker, and Steve Austin's life changes forever. I recently rewatched this match, and man, he's lucky. And the whole plan, the whole fucking. We could have saw the first death in the ring. He's lucky. They did everything wrong. He's lucky he got two. He's lucky he got the years he got out of that. Like
Hmm. He's
we'll
lucky
talk,
he was only out a couple months too. Just insane.
he couldn't. Him and the company couldn't afford it, and I think he probably did long term damage. Well, we'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about
Yeah.
it. 2 weeks from now, it's Road Wild '97. It's Lex Luger versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. 3 weeks from now, it's ECW Hardcore Heaven, which is Sabu versus Terry Funk versus your best friend Shane Douglas. And then in 4 weeks, it's Ground Zero in your house.
Mm.
Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker 1.
What an unfortunate name, but yes.
Beautiful to find Shawn Michaels' life. What are you excited about?
SummerSlam. I mean, we've been here for so long, just moving up from June to August. Have not seen SummerSlam in a long time, so if it is a three-man booth, definitely would rewatch that SummerSlam.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to a little bit more ECW, and I've never really seen the Ground Zero match. I kind of feel like that's the one people talk about the least
Hmm.
in their series, you know, in
Yeah,
their
no, it's the very first, like you said, the very first one. Um, I don't remember. I think it ends in disqualification. Spoiler, I don't remember. Um, I have not
yeah,
seen it in a long time too,
yeah, yeah.
but it
That's why
seemed
they.
like yeah, it seems like a schmoz,
I
and
think
then they have
would
the
be planches
he does
at
the
the
planches. Yes.
yeah.
And then you get yeah, and then you get like the big. I think it just got on YouTube. I think they just put it on the vault. If you just want to
Well,
watch the match by itself.
the whole event on kind of uncensored way. We also have to we got to see Bret Hart versus the Patriot, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, boy. All right, yeah.
Hart should have known they 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 can make a title win. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker go off. and Bret Hart is the fucking Patriot. Like I got to go. Who was a tag wrestler in WCW. It's like
Thank you. That's why I didn't like it when he was there the first time. I was like, this guy was teaming with like Marcus Alexander Bagwell, and they weren't even that good. And now you're telling me he's good enough to fight bro? Get out of here.
it would have been better if Bagwell fought fucking Bret Hart. Anyway,
Probably. Oh, all right. Well, maybe I will be there sometime. We'll find out. Whatever you need.
well, listen,
Wow.
we'll do a three-man booth. We'll see. I know that the Pratik's, my good friend Pratik is a big wrestling fan. Went to WrestleMania with him. He wants to join on the pod. Maybe I think if a three-man booth will be fun. We'll give it a shot. I know we didn't talk a lot about AJ Lee. I don't. I'm gonna be. This is no disrespect for her. There's not a lot to say. It was a home run. Her first promo was a home run. It's good that she's back. I just hope they don't R-Truth and Rusev her. I just hope they don't do that.
I
Or the
think yes. I think because of who she's associated with, she will not be R-Truth or Rusev. She will be always at the top of the card. You can throw Nikki Bella in there as well. Nikki Bella is just kind of floating around. She
big
lost on Monday to Asuka, which was the right call, but like she's just kind of there, and that's unfortunate for her.
storyline. I think because when Vince was around and the first run was, oh no, she's actually a great wrestler and you need to, and nobody. I think now the storyline is she's act. I think the storyline they're going with is like she was always a joke. Like it was stupid that this woman was on top. Like,
I don't,
he,
I don't think that's it, but
but
I
well, like
think
what Garrett said and how Asuka apparently just annihilated her. Like it wasn't even close, right?
no, she was getting some offense in. She got some decent offense in, but it just I think you needed to push Asuka over Nikki. I think Nikki is just a natural born heel, and maybe that's what they're leading to. She's gonna lose and just get beaten until she like
Yeah,
eventually turns. But like
I
they
kind of
people don't
feel
care when she comes out, which sucks.
I kind of feel the War Games match is gonna be Becky and new women versus AJ and the older women. And what I mean by that is I think it's going to be the Bellas and I think it's going to be Paige. And I think to round up that team is going to be Rhea Ripley. Like CM Punk is going to ask Rhea Ripley. And then Becky's side is going to be Becky.
They're all gonna die.
What
Putting
happened?
all these the old women into the War Games match. It's
I'm
just like,
thinking
oh
what's
my God.
and then the other team is going to be Roxanne. Um,
Raquel,
what's the? Do they both have the same name? Roxanne Perez. What's the hot
Raquel.
Raquel, Roxanne. God, their names are so similar. Roxanne Perez is the little hot one, right? She's the like the
Yeah,
final
she's a little young girl, yes.
girl I have a crush on. I don't really have a crush on anybody anymore in wrestling, but her I would risk it all for. So those two, Becky
Go
Lynch,
for it.
Bailey, and I think Juliana. That's the team, and it's gonna be new versus old. I could even see Blake Monroe getting in there instead of Julia, maybe.
Yeah, let's see what they do with NXT if NXT gets any involvement. Especially what I don't know if you saw what they did yesterday.
Uh,
They had yeah, they have the homecoming thing. So it's Rhea, Stephanie Vaquer, and Tiffany Stratton against the
mhm.
Fatal Attraction, which Fatal Influence, which just won't break up. WWE really knows how to stretch out faction breakups. But
I do think we're gonna see Paige. I think that's happening. I think with AJ around, I think Paige is coming back, and I think she's gonna get a big pop, and it's gonna be like AEW never existed. So
I also think if you want to keep AJ out of the title divisions, that tag division needs teams. If
yeah,
Paige comes back, I think it would benefit both of them because Paige, as a singles competitor, I don't think it's gonna work long
hmm
term. And AJ, same thing. Bella's as well. I don't know what the deal is with Brie. They keep saying it's because of Brian Danielson, which makes no fucking sense. But
the only thing I could see is that Tony wants her to wrestle there,
yeah,
and I could kind of see him being like Brian, can you talk to her? Like that would really help out the women's division if she was here. And
she's not needed there though.
I think Nikki. No, but I do think like it's like I do kind of feel like both Brian and Tony are like, well, if you're gonna wrestle, it should be for us. That would help us. And
Yeah,
I think Nikki is like, I need you here.
yeah.
I ultimately think it's up to Bree, but I do kind of feel like not that Tony's going to hold it against Brian, but I do think Tony's going to be like, we could use her because she's a main. They're mainstream people. Like, I could have used her and Nikki's rub a little bit on this show. I really, and I think I would use Brie if I was Tony because she is going to give a rub. Is she going to have great matches? No, but like, yeah. So I could kind of see that being a little thing that I don't think it's going to. Again, it's not going to fuck
Yeah,
Brian.
I mean, you could do like Brie Mercedes or Brie, someone who she knows how to wrestle. Brie,
Yeah,
I guess.
I think Brie
What's
Mercedes,
the evil girls, Toxic Spiders, Thekla and Julia
Tony
Hart and all that. Just people that'll help give them like some more shine, I guess.
Brie Tony Storm. That's another myth.
Brie
So
Tony Storm, Brie teaming with Willow.
yeah, I almost feel like there was something unspoken years ago that if they come back, they'll come back for AEW. When especially when Daniel Bryan started getting all in, no pun
Yeah,
intended.
well, they were mad at the WWE for a while because they couldn't keep their name and all this other nonsense that happened. And then
Well,
you could always come home, so she came home.
that was a message for Jericho and Paige and Edge and a lot of other people. Bobby Lashley. Yeah. I do think that was more of a message for Paige and Jericho. I think they want them back. I think Jericho should go back. I don't think AEW just gains if Jericho leaves. I don't think they lose. I
I
don't even,
think, yeah,
it's not even bad optics. It
I
really is.
think they've moved on from Chris Jericho.
Let Jericho have his little retirement run. Um, Again, I'm no longer into Jericho. I think he should have retired a while ago, but I will be there for Jericho Cena if they're able to pull that off. But by the way, prediction, and then I'll let you go. This will be the final
Hmm.
thing. I think the AJ style stuff is leading to him being the final match for John Cena.
Mm,
I
that
think
is
that
good.
I think that might even be AJ Styles' final match.
That would be crazy. That's both of their matches.
Sorry.
That it's both of their like last matches in WWE.
I think they're not going to announce it as AJ's final match, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I think AJ, they're going to use this to get him to TNA. He's going to wrestle in TNA, but the whole thing is, I think the undercurrent is that Cena asked to wrestle AJ and someone said no.
Hmm.
And AJ is going to want it because I need a rubber match. He's won one, I won one. He can't retire unless and I think AJ Styles is the best final opponent for Cena. I do.
That is perfect. I think that's perfect.
I think
What if
that's
it's
what.
Intercontinental Champion John Cena too? Because AJ Styles has been trying to get the Intercontinental title, and
Mm-hmm.
John Cena's never been Intercontinental Champion.
TNA World Champion AJ Styles versus Intercon title for title. But
Intercon.
however it is, I think this whole thing, someone doesn't want me here, is leading to Cena AJ. That's my theory. And
I
maybe
like
I'm
that.
Styles have a tag team with
Who's
fucking
who's the someone? Triple H? Because I mean, he's the only person that gives a shit.
the story's going to be that John Cena requested to wrestle AJ Styles, and they said no, and they brought back Brock Lesnar instead, and that pissed them off.
But who is the they?
Triple H,
Okay, yeah.
Triple H,
And
and
you,
Bruce.
and you can and you can play into that the ankle, like when AJ came back and his ankle like shattered or whatever. It wasn't shattered, but he got injured. They were like, you don't have it anymore. It was just kind of
And I think they're gonna have like basically AJ Styles forces Cena to have his last match with him. Like it's not gonna be like you no longer have a choice. Like we're gonna have.
yeah,
I really do think like especially now that they're on Peacock, you have a long time. Those two had phenomenal chemistry in the ring,
no pun intended. Yeah.
and I think that's a perfect guy because I think Cena should win his last match. AJ's not gonna lose anything if Cena pins him, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that is a perfect ending, and that's someone with like I busted my ass in TNA and everyone talked about you and not me. And I beat
Hmm.
as I got here, and they still talk about you. And da, 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 like they've been on similar tracks, and their careers are both coming to an. I don't know. I think there's a lot you can do with that. And I'll probably be wrong. This last match will be against Logan Paul, but
I'll be very upset if it's John Cena and Jelly Roll against. I'm like, oh God, I hate you so much.
I think that's what it's leading to. And I think that would be the best way. You kind of have to have a conflict going into the last match, and I think that'd be a good one.
No, I think that would be really good. I think that should be the match.
Yeah, I know they said Gunther. I
It's not.
wanted to. I don't want to be someone Cena's unfamiliar with. because he's having a hard time in the ring. He's getting better now because he's now in the ring with people he knows.
Hmm.
I think it should be someone that he feels comfortable with, and I think AJ Styles is that person. So
No, I think that's how you go out on top. You go out with somebody who rarely has a bad match, who can still go to this day. And I think AJ Styles is the perfect opponent. I do.
so we'll see what happens. All right, guys, that's the podcast. Please subscribe to us on Apple. I say iTunes. I guess it's Apple. I don't know. Please subscribe to us somewhere. Not only fans. That's not us. If you see Gooch's Wrestling Pod, I don't know what that is, but don't subscribe to that. You'll get arrested. Um, and and then follow me on Instagram, Ray Goots, on TikTok, Ray Goots Comedy. Kyle, what do you have going?
I have next week. I don't nothing yet. I think we just have the regular stand up going on and characters like comedy October 2nd and October 11th. Those tickets are on sale. November 22nd also on sale. December 6th also. I feel like WWE. All of our dates are on sale right now. So from October to December, come buy
10, 11,
tickets.
10, 11. That's 1 month after 9/11. So
Yes, yes. Yes, it
better,
is.
it's better luck. So you got to
Yeah.
show the victims of 10/11. Come on. All right, guys. Happy 9/11. We will see you. You know, a comedian start. You know, in 2003, my first 9/11 at Caroline's, the
Mm.
headline started set going "Happy 9/11," and people got like genuinely uncomfortable, and he had to immediately walk it back.
I can imagine, yeah.
What I meant was it was a tragedy, and when he walked out, like I think someone at Caroline's manager at the time was like, why would you start off thinking enough time passed? What do you want from me?
Oh my God, that's amazing. It's
Yeah.
terrible, but amazing.
Happy 9/11 and silence. But now you can do that, especially out here.
Yeah,
You know,
people love making 9/11 jokes. I'm not one of them, but people love making 9/11 jokes.
you know what? The biggest 9/11 joke is Vince McMahon. All right, guys, we
Yeah,
will see.
technically, yes, because they did the fucking show, and they did that Stephanie McMahon talking about
Putting on a shitty wrestling show. Fucking
the
idiots. And
indictment being just as bad as the towers.
now they
So,
take low Saudi Arabia, who probably was behind 9/11. But anyway,
uh,
what do you
uh, yeah, let's end the show before we get into these conspiracy theories.
like that? Listen, enough. Hey, it's bad enough Hulk Hogan died. We can't talk about Hulk 9/11. We'll talk to you next time, guys. Bye.